Start your engines. Carlton.
Well, disappointing. Now, I'm a little bit embarrassed, Quarters, because 2 weeks ago I wrote a column pumping them up, and I tell you what, have I been slammed ever since then? Because since then they've played 2 games that have been pretty ordinary. But I watched Carlton pretty closely on the weekend, and I thought it was a must-win match for them against Fremantle. That's the article.
Why did you do it?
I put the jinx on them.
11 and 4, you'd said they'd be after round 15.
Well, I'll change that. No, they'll be, oh, well, you know, they'll win the next 2, let me say that.
All right.
But, look, if you have a look at the stats, this is for the first half against Fremantle. Statistically, they weren't too bad. They've had more disposals. That doesn't mean a real lot. The inside 50s means a lot because, you know, you can see there a lot more inside 50s to the Blues. Turnovers, they had their fair share of turnovers, but the Dockers had more. Scores from turnovers, and this was the thing that hurt them, the skill level, particularly the skill level going into their forward line and then having shots for goal. Carlton's no goals 3. There's a shot from 35 metres out and doesn't even make the distance. And they just can't. Don't forget, Carlton lost this game by 9 points in the end. And, you know, there was no Murphy, there was no Satanta. I know Fremantle had players out as well, but I just felt that here is where they really lost the contest. They had chances to have a reasonable score on the board at half-time, and you go in at half-time with a scoreline of something like 2 goals 12. So that really hurt them. Chris Judd was the interesting one.
I know on Saturday night you were calling, where's his mates?
Well,
Adam
McPhee was set the task to stop Judd. Judd had more disposals for Carlton than anyone, but he copped a fairly rough treatment throughout. He had his run blocked, he was grabbed, he was held down, he was knocked around from pillar to post, from go to woe. Now, Adam McPhee did what his club wanted him to do, and you know, you might say, well done. I'm sure that Fremantle would say Adam McPhee did a good job because he was frustrated, and I've never seen Chris Judd as frustrated as this ever. The thing that gets stuck in my throat, though, is where's the support for Chris Judd from his teammates? Now, if McPhee was doing this sort of treatment to Gary Ablett, there would be a dozen cats jumping into McPhee and saying, OK, you're going to pay a price. You're going to pay a price for that sort of thing. It's not the first time that's happened.
Who's capable at Carlton of doing it?
Anyone and every one of them. And I'm not talking against the rules, but you can bump, you can knock, you can stand on feet, you can jostle, you can hold him down, you can verbally harass.
Let's have a look at Chris getting frustrated.
There's a lot of things you can do, and I didn't see any of them do it. He got frustrated.
I don't reckon there are too many in that Carlton team to whom it comes naturally. Perhaps it does Jared Waite, perhaps he's trying too hard, and maybe that's why he keeps getting himself into trouble. Carazzo, we saw in one of the clips a moment ago, was nearby, but I think he was so intent on following his opponent that he wasn't watching and wasn't thinking about what might have been going on with Judd.
It's got to be in their mindset, every Carlton player, not only to protect Judd, but to protect Murphy, to protect Gibbs, to protect Carazzo. Whoever is getting a raw deal, that message has got to go through the team pretty quickly, and you've got to step in and help. At least you fly the flag for your teammates. And Carlton didn't fly the flag for their skipper, and that really annoyed me.
We're going to have a look at some of McPhee's tactics, Tim. What's your general taggers?
I think they have to take with what they can get away with. And we don't to, but that's and who's had a few homes on the football field, looks as though he might have found another string to his bow. I mean, I don't like it, and I don't like seeing champions negated in this way.
That there, if you impede a run, it's OK not to look at the footy. It's OK for McPhee not to look at the footy, but if he impedes the run of a player with a whack in the chest, that sort of thing, that's when he should be free kicked. And that's what the umpiring department have told us. It's OK not to look at the footy, but if you put 2 hands on the chest and you push off, it should be a free kick, and you've got to nip it in the bud early.
It's been happening forever, hasn't it?
It's been happening forever, Tim.
Harrison did it to Barassi in the 58 grand final. Diesel Williams used to get angry and get himself reported every now and then because he, like Judd, would become very frustrated and would lash out. Yeah.
Look, there's talk that there will be 4 umpires on the field next year. We've got 3 as it is. But the 4th umpire's job will be to be where the stoppages are
and to look for that sort of
stuff. And to have a very close look at it, because the umpires who are at the different ends of the field, they can be 60, 80 metres from it. And we do get the odd free kick paid by them, but not many.
3 players want to have a look at, Rob. Hadley, McLean. Firstly, can those 2 play in the same side? And Warnock, where's he at? He's got might have an opportunity now. We'll speak to Brett Ratton about it, but what's your opinion on these three?
These are three players that Carlton got from other clubs: Hadley, Brisbane, McLean, Melbourne, Warnock from Fremantle. My assessment of Richard Hadley is that he should not play another senior game for Carlton. He's a terrific young fella and he works his butt off, but he's slow and he can't kick the footy. I'm very much looking at Carlton now, particularly with Cruiser injured, as setting themselves to be in a grand final in 2 years' time, because they're not going to win a grand final this year. Hadley, I don't think he helps the cause. Now, McLean, they're on a 3-year contract. I hope he can improve his output. I hope he can improve his skills, because at the moment he's a battler. He is a battler, and I reckon McLean's good enough to be in a bottom 5 team. I'm not convinced he's good enough to be in a top 5 team. Now, he's had injuries. The jury's out, but I've got a very big question mark on McLean. Carlton went out and got Warnock a couple of years ago. Up draft choices and then put him in cotton wool for 12 months to get him physically right. I think they've got to play him now, again with an eye to where they're going to be in 2 years' time. Cruiser's gone. We know that. Warnock's got to play. I think Warnock's got to play. Otherwise, you've got to start to say, well, we made the wrong...
Interesting to look at the deals they did with both of them. McLean was exchanged for pick 11 and Melbourne took Gisberts, who's made a tremendous start. He's a kid and he's got his whole career in front of him. And Warnock went for picks 24, 56 and 68. And the first of those was used to get Nick Subin, who in a season and a half has played 29 games. So Warnock's giving him a start.
Brett Thornton is another name I want to run past you, Rob.
Well, we did the game on Saturday night. We were really frustrated. Have a look at this. Brett Thornton, he gets outmarked by Sandilands. That happens. He's angry. He's frustrated. That's his opponent. Turns around to Simpson. Hey, why didn't you come and punch? Why didn't you come and punch?
It's about a foot and a half.
Let's have a look at it again. Have a look at... He turns around. He wants to blame everybody but himself. And I've seen this happen too many times. Now, Simpson's got every right to give him a mouthful. Now, the game's in the balance here.
I saw a pen flying in the commentary box.
The game's in the balance. Last few minutes of the game, it's kicked into Carlton's forward line. They're 9 points behind. He thinks he should have got a free kick. Didn't get it. Abuses the umpire. 50-metre penalty. This is a bloke who's played 150 games. They dropped him earlier in the year. And then have a look at this.
And Bradley, here we go, match review panel. He got reprimanded for that, Kepler Bradley. He got found guilty of a misdemeanour. You're kidding me.
Didn't see a lot of blood.
That is ridiculous.
You just shake your head, don't you? Brett Thornton needs to stand up for Carlton or not be played. And I just get sick of seeing him whinge and moan and complain about other players. He's a bloke who's played 150 senior games. Take on some responsibility.
I think a mystery with Carlton is the fact that this team beat Geelong and beat St Kilda. Two teams which I think are way ahead of the rest of the field, and Carlton knocked them off in the space of 2 or 3 weeks. And yet they've struggled against lesser opposition, and that's something I want to talk to Brett Ratton about a little later. They seem as though they're better when they're the hunter. When they're being hunted, they're not so good.
They've made a lot of improvements, Tim. There's no doubt about that. Like, their best is really good, but, you know, they lose the games that you tend to think that they shouldn't.
Michael Jamieson, you want to talk about?
Well, Michael Jamieson's a fullback, and I think he's a good fullback. But I just want to have a look at his figures. Now, he's averaging 9 disposals a game. I know we're comparing him with the best in Scarlett, Lake and Fletcher. They're averaging twice as many disposals a game and rebounds. Michael Jamieson is a doer defender, but I reckon it's time he started to have more confidence in himself to run and carry the ball and use it. Too often we see this. He will get the ball in space and he will stand still and he will wait for someone to hand it off to behind. I don't reckon that helps the team all that much. Again, he's been in the system long enough. I'd like to see him have a bit more dare and dash about himself, because he's a good, strong player. He's courageous, but let's see a bit more run out of him.
Jared Waite's not helping the team much at the moment, is he?
Well, you know, Tim and I looked at Jared Waite today, and, you know, 3 times he's been suspended.
Reported.
Reported.
Twice suspended.
Yeah.
You got 2 for this?
He deserved to get 2 for
fair
that.
enough. No problem with that one.
And look, Jared, I'll say this about Jared. I think he's a really good talent.
He got reported for this but got off?
Yeah, he got off that one. He's a real talent. And I don't reckon it's in his nature to do the sort of thing that he's doing.
And now he's got 2 weeks again for this incident on the weekend.
That was a cheap shot. He's hit a bloke whose eyes are on the footy and it's a mile off the action. And I reckon that's a
Not a
cheap
mile.
shot.
I reckon he's a bit stiff there.
What? He's at least 10. He's at least 10
blocked.
metres.
He hasn't run
blocked.
through him.
He's gone at the bloke.
He's
Tim.
stopped and let the bloke run into him.